Hey guys, welcome to Aruka once again. I'm Patrick, and I want to talk about peer-to-peer transfer within crypto, within finance, within the community, and if at all, banks and regulations are needed on this sector. In terms of my background, for those just joining us, I'm Patrick, the CEO of Aruka, Aruka.com. We do smart payment rings. Basically, we connect to your rings, we connect to your connect your rings to your banks, to your credit card, and we work with a lot of banks across the world. So in truth, there's really no need to walk around with your wallet. There's no need to walk around with your phone unless you're watching me on YouTube. There's no need to walk around with this heavy stuff again because you could just do your payments on your phone, sorry, on your ring. So you tap to pay, just tap on the device and it pays and it automatically connects. It doesn't have a battery, so there's no need for batteries. There's no need for charging these things. All you do is just connect it and go. It's basically called a passive device because it's always on and it's just waiting and listening for that code and you tap to pay anyway. That being said about my product, so please download, join the app, www.oruka.com, order your ring, and we'll get your ring out to you immediately. And we work with most banks, as I said. If your bank is not supported, just reach out to us on the app when you download your ring. When you order a ring, sorry. I'm out in a very, very beautiful landscape, if you can't tell, right? And this is not AI, right? You've got the mountains there. If you turn this around a bit, you see you've got the sea over there. Just very beautiful. It's a place in Norway. And I think what just got me thinking then, just coming into Norway, was one, apart from the beauty, there's a lot of, hydro and data centers being, launched recently. Which brought up the whole crypto and is pushed by the whole crypto sphere these days where people need power. These AI machines and everything just need power. It's power hungry and they need to cool them down. Okay. And that's where we see a lot of traction. And but it got me thinking about the P2P side as well, and the whole point with crypto was it was supposed to be a P2P, peer-to-peer transfer, okay? I'm going to explain what peer-to-peer is. So peer-to-peer is basically me and you. If we're going to transfer money to each other, okay, we go ahead and we say, yes, we're going to pay money to you, okay? And we want to try and take out as many middlemen as possible, okay? And why? Middlemen are important because maybe I don't trust you or you don't trust me. I want to see that everything is done properly. Okay, so it's always that case where you need a middle person in between to facilitate our movement, either because of credit, or because of risk, or because of anti-money laundering rules. Okay, so there's a little bit of that which I think was important for us to implement. And that's why crypto came around. So crypto was supposed to be a blockchain and it's distributed in the sense that anybody and everybody has access to that information. You can see the endpoint and you can see what payment has been done and validated. That was big, especially when you look at what banking is, right? So banking is basically centralized. You look at the government decides who's good, who's bad. The government also decides what is anti-money laundering rules, what's terrorist financing, and basically there are rules and politics around these things, which went into finance and it still is in finance, okay? Because the government could decide, hey, listen, we're going into war with these people in Russia, therefore don't deal with them, okay? And it's for good reason, we don't know, okay? But here's the point. The key is that whether you like it or not, if the government places a law to say, hey, this is what you're doing as a bank, you need to do it, okay? And that comes into the space within a P2P, because a P2P means that means you're going in there, you have to look at the law, you have to look at who's doing what with who, and then you facilitate that. And banks are not cheap, okay? So if I'm coming in and you want to transfer money from me, say I'm in the UK, you want to transfer money to another person in America, you're going through one bank to another bank to another bank. Okay. And that's why you see bank fees, which should come up to sometimes 5%. Okay. Just to transfer that money across. Yeah. Which is a pain. And is a pain point which everyone try to avoid as much as possible because people thought, wait a minute, maybe we don't need that facilitation. Maybe we can have a group of nodes or computers that talk to each other. Yeah. Maybe, okay, the risk then can be taken away from the banks, okay, because all the computers can say yes or no to every transaction. It's validated, okay, on the blockchain. Yeah, and that's the point. But if you look at what it is these days, right, it's no longer that, right? It's no longer P2P, right? It's effectively, yeah, people holding on to blockchain and hoping the price goes up. Okay. In fact, people call it these days, if you're honest, right, anybody who's crypto here would know as well that people now refer to it as digital gold, okay, which is someone coming from finance is one of the most boring topics you can actually think about. If you think of all the asset classes we have, okay, right, there's commodities and there's instruments or FXs, right? And then there's also equities and there's bonds, okay? Precious metals, which is gold, is the worst, the most boring. In fact, most of the top guys, Warren Buffett said it as well. It's like gold is rubbish. Like you can't do anything with gold. So you only hold gold and hope it goes up. Okay, and it goes up. Okay, when there's uncertainty, it goes up. But in truth, it's the most boring instrument possible. So it's an insult, my opinion, in the banking opinion, it's an insult as a banker to hear that Bitcoin is now digital gold, because that means it can only be as far as gold. It's never going to be better than gold. It's digital. Okay. And it's always going to track gold in the sense that you hope the price goes up or appreciates. But Bitcoin should be more. Bitcoin was formulated for peer-to-peer payments, okay, to facilitate payment, which is a lot bigger than banks. It's a lot bigger than gold, okay, because gold effectively was a trade by barter, and it was so horrible in terms of permutation. It was so horrible in terms of availability, in terms of breaking it down, that we had to bring it down and actually make it, into paper money, and then from paper money became digital, and now we're going all the way around to compare it to gold. So, in my opinion, that's not good. What we need to do within the crypto space, we, you guys, everybody, my customers, what you need to do in the crypto space is to go back to the origins of P2P transfer, okay, and use crypto for that. Crypto was always supposed to be a P2P transfer. There's enough traction within P2P without the greed, okay, of the price going up, without the greed of the, let's call them tokens and crypto and crap coins that are out there today. Without those greeds, if it goes back to essentially what it was, which was a P2P transfer, okay, I think there's definitely a strong value proposition for crypto that would actually make the government continue to be jealous. It's going to make all the big boys want to go into crypto, but for good reason, not for what they're doing now. I mean, BlackRock recently, I think they're one of the top holders of Bitcoin, and recently they sold a huge amount, which again brought down the price of Bitcoin. That's not what you want to do. Bitcoin should not just be for speculation. It's bigger, it's more important, it's a huge traction. And there's a lot of projects out there. Jack Dorsey has one, I think it's called Mesh, and then BLE on a mesh network, where he's trying to do a connection. Okay. And he's using the same theory around Bitcoin, but it facilitates peer-to-peer communication. Okay. If you can do peer-to-peer communication without the big boys, the network, if you do peer-to-peer communication without people listening in, okay, that helps. That takes it back to the origins of what Bitcoin and blockchain should be about. That should be the same with people. Again, we're not going to facilitate that because we're just a payment ring provider. Okay, we would give you the resources, but in my opinion, I think as users, we need to start looking into how to make P2P transfers much more fun, as it was supposed to be. But the sun's starting to rise. That's just beautiful to see, by the way, guys. Nature is beautiful. So yeah, so again, like I said, guys, so I really wish P2P goes back to what it was, which is again, especially on the blockchain side, to facilitate payment with each other. A few things to worry about, obviously, is the credit rating, which I've talked about. I think blockchain can do that. Okay, so blockchain can make sure that the credit risk is mitigated because everybody facilitates the conversation. So if I pay you $10, guess what? Everyone's gonna know my wallet paid you $10. Otherwise, it's not going to be released or validated in the node. But the downside obviously becomes the things like anti-money laundering, where we don't know, okay, where things are going. So I hope somehow blockchain or Bitcoin is able to solve that one. And there's also the other point as well around, how you stop hackers from going in. Again, people argue about hacking, right? Okay, it's always the same as well. Even in traditional finance, people get hacked. Okay, people get stolen. Money gets stolen these days. Okay, maybe not as rampant as exchanges on the blockchain side of things. I mean, Binance recently was hacked for millions. In fact, every exchange has been hacked. Okay, which is not good. And then the question is how you stop that. Okay, and again, the community does well there. They already do a good job there. So that's something I think we need to carry on doing. Okay, on the good side of things. So without waffling too much, I think just to summarize, right, P2P is the future of finance. We old dogs, I mean, the banks are going to die out, really, will die out soon because banking is just not trusted anymore. P2P, which is basically you and I, every person transferring money across, is stronger than the banking system. So we really need to lean into that. If someone wants to send you money, look for the cheapest way possible to send that money to that person. Don't go to your bank. The bank is expensive. Your bank is actually the most expensive way of sending out money. If you're sending money to someone and you trust that person, all you need is the cheapest network possible to transfer that money. Okay. Western Union did that successfully, okay, and they became big, but then they used the rails of MasterCard, okay, and I'll get into that as the next step now, okay. So the question is, how does that go through? So you want to find the cheapest way possible to go from A to B. Okay. We have our app as well. Our app basically, is money save, right? So this runs on money save. So when you buy your ring, you order your ring, we configure it to the app. Within the app, you can transfer money across. Next to nothing. Okay. Same thing as well with Revolut, there are a few, Monzo, a few banks out there today, Mercury in the US. They allow you to transfer money easily within each user. Okay. So if you look at it, if you're in an ecosystem of a fintech, it's a lot cheaper than to go into a bank. Gets even cheaper with blockchain if you can get into blockchain, right? So blockchain again allows you to send money almost instantaneously, but a lot cheaper, depending on the network. You could use Binance, you could use Coinbase, you can use any of those networks. Okay. But what you use, I think, is always important. Get the cheapest way possible to go from A to B. Traditional finance is expensive. MasterCard, Visa, all those traditional Amex are very expensive. The good thing they bring to you then is just the anti-money laundering checks. So if you don't know who you're sending the money to, use traditional finance because you can get the money back. If you don't know or you don't trust the other person on the side of the fence, use traditional banking because you will get that money. You can recall that money. It will take money. It will take time. You could pay some charges, but you will recall that money, which is a lot tougher for again P2P transfer on the blockchain. Okay, so that's the point, and I hope with time we can fight that risk of maybe be able to trace funds and recall them a lot easier. If you can do that within the crypto side, I think definitely banking will be dead. And I don't want banking to be dead, by the way, because I'm a traditional banker. But again, customers are more important. I care about customer safety. If customers want crypto, we go with crypto. If customer would like a P2P transfer to send money easily within each other, we should facilitate that, okay? And that should be more important than national interest. It should be more important, okay, than profits. It should be more important than plugging the hole in finance within the government, okay? If people are happy to send money to each other, pay money, and commerce moves and facilitates everything easily, believe it or not, things are going to go better anyway with the country. So that's it for me for today. I'm going to go for a hike, enjoy this view. And once again, guys in Norway, thank you for this beautiful preserved landscape, by the way. So I think that's something that is never said enough. You know, if people talk about global warming and how we are overpopulated, I like things like this where, things are still nature. They're not building things unnecessarily here, and you can still see nature, which I think is very important. And the way the world is going, it's always good to have this just to clear your head. Guys, find time, go for walks, clear your head, enjoy nature, and catch you in the next one.